Jungkook stopped talking. His eyes turned red. His voice choked. In a sudden interview released without prior notice, the youngest BTS member delivered a statement that instantly shook the global fan community. Jungkook did not mention many details, but one sentence was enough to trigger mass panic. Jimin is not in good condition. The statement confirmed the long-standing silent speculation. Since completing military service, Jimin has not appeared in public. No social media posts, no airport appearances, no participation in official activities, only silence. And in that silence, worry began to grow. This interview became the answer to all the questions that had gone unanswered for months. According to Jungkook's statement, Jimin is experiencing a serious health condition, not just physical exhaustion. What's happening is far more complex. After returning from the military, Jimin showed signs of significant decline. He had trouble sleeping, lost his appetite, and showed drastic behavioral changes.
No emotional outbursts, no complaints.
Only a calmness too quiet to be normal. The medical team treating Jimin later reported that he is experiencing psychosomatic symptoms. This is a serious medical condition where psychological disturbances trigger physical disorders. In Jimin's case, the impact is measurable. His weight dropped drastically. Blood pressure became unstable. Episodes of breathlessness increased. No conventional medical causes were found. The diagnosis points to accumulated long-term severe stress. All indicators lead to one conclusion. Jimin's body is responding to psychological wounds that have been repressed for years. Jungkook's statement depicts a situation that can no longer be hidden. He always said he was okay, but he spent nights sitting silently in the studio, without sound, without light, just instrumental music playing on repeat. We knew it wasn't a habit. It was a signal. Jungkook paused, trying to steady his heavy breathing. His tears began to fall uncontrollably. We took him to the hospital when his condition got worse. We couldn't stay silent anymore. The interview footage shows Jungkook in dark clothing, sitting in an almost empty room. No music.
No dramatic visuals.
Just a voice slowly breaking under emotions that could no longer be suppressed. This wasn't part of any promotion. This was a direct admission of a reality no one wanted to acknowledge. When asked when they realized this condition, Jungkook answered without hesitation. Since the first day he came out of the military, his smile was different. He was physically present, but not mentally. We tried to wait, but there was no improvement. It only got worse. This information caused a massive reaction among fans. ARMY, who have loyally supported BTS, began to raise questions to the management. Why was there no official notice? Why did they let Jimin face this alone? Was there a managerial reason behind the agency's silence? Or was this an effort to avoid reputational damage to the group? The fan community responded swiftly and in an organized manner. Within hours after the interview video was released, thousands of support messages were sent across various channels. Digital message trucks were placed at key locations in Seoul. Donations were collected collectively and channeled to national mental health institutions. The goal was clear: to show that Jimin is not alone and that the public refuses to stay silent amid this uncertainty. However, up until now, there has been no official statement issued by the management regarding this situation. All circulating information comes from Jungkook's direct statement and a few internal sources who chose to remain unnamed. This uncertainty only adds to the emotional burden on fans. They don't know what's really going on. All they have is speculation and deep sadness. One longtime staff member who worked closely with Jimin said that during the last album promotion before his military service, Jimin already showed signs of pressure. He was professional, very disciplined, but in his silence, there was something he held in too long. He rarely slept, spent too much time alone. It wasn't ordinary fatigue, he said. Now, the public is faced with the reality that Jimin is not going through a typical post-military transition. He is undergoing recovery from a very serious and complex condition. It is unknown when or if he will return anytime soon. There is no information about his whereabouts or current medical status. All that exists is a void of information and emotional trauma spread across the global fan community. More questions remain. Was the pressure to make a comeback too great? Have public expectations toward BTS exceeded the bounds of humanity? Has the system that produced the image of global idols contributed to the mental damage of the individuals within it? At the end of the interview, Jungkook said one sentence that lingered. "Young, if you see this, please don't hold everything in alone. You don't have to be strong by yourself." After that sentence, he closed his eyes, bowed his head, and spoke no more. The camera stopped recording. This situation leaves a deep scar on everyone who has followed BTS's journey. They haven't only followed music, they've followed the lives of the people in it. And when one of them falls, the pain feels real. Until now, the public is still waiting. Waiting for an official update. Waiting for an explanation. Waiting for Jimin to return in a healthy state. Not to perform, but to live peacefully. One thing has now become a collective agreement. No agenda is more important than health. No stage is worth the risk of mental collapse. The fan community has spoken. Their message is clear. We don't need performances if they cost pain. We don't need appearances if they cost suffering. We just want you healthy. That's all. This situation is a harsh reflection of the current reality of the entertainment industry. And Jimin's name has now become a new symbol, not just as an idol, but as a human being with a right to be tired, to be sick, and to heal. The situation surrounding Jimin's name in recent weeks has sparked a wave of emotion, sympathy, and concern. Jungkook's emotional statement in the interview not only triggered deep sorrow among ARMY, but also raised crucial questions that must be rationally reflected upon. Is this a truth that has been hidden? Or are we part of a narrative deliberately constructed to provoke massive public reaction? The public cannot deny the impact of a visually and emotionally crafted presentation. When a global figure like Jungkook sheds tears and says his closest friend is experiencing a health crisis, an emotional response is natural. But behind that, one fundamental question must be asked. What is the validity of this information? Is everything shown a factual representation? Or are we witnessing a narrative script carefully designed to create a collective psychological effect? All circulating content, whether in video form, text quotes, or interview snippets, comes from platforms with high virality characteristics: TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and online community forums. Can information distribution on such platforms be a benchmark for truth? More importantly, who is responsible for the content? Has the public checked the authenticity of the source? Has the footage shown been verified by independent media authorities? If not, an urgent question arises. Why do we believe it so easily? The sensitivity of mental health issues should be treated with utmost caution. If it's true that Jimin is facing such a crisis, then its dissemination must be done with accuracy, empathy, and proper procedures. But if this information is not based on facts and is merely a product of social media construction, then the public must question the motives behind the spread of such a narrative. Who benefits? Is it only for traffic? Is it an emotional exploitation strategy to boost exposure and attention toward the group's name? It's important to note that until now, there has been no official verification from management regarding Jimin's health condition as stated in various viral content. Without clarity and confirmation from trusted sources, all circulating narratives should not be categorized as valid information. In fact, such news carries a high risk of worsening fans' psychological condition, creating unfounded panic and tarnishing the credibility of the media involved in its dissemination. Therefore, readers must be encouraged to prioritize skepticism toward every piece of information received. A piece of news doesn't become truth just because it moves our feelings. Facts are not determined by retweet counts, comments, or likes. They only stand firmly on evidence, verification, and source transparency. Are we responding to truth or being manipulated by an unverified narrative construction? This question must always accompany every media exposure we consume, especially when it involves serious issues like mental health and a public figure's private condition. A reflective attitude is the foundation of intellectual integrity. When emotional narratives are presented before us, it's important to ask again, who controls the distribution of this information? Who produces this narrative? Is there a hidden agenda? In a world controlled by algorithms, where highly emotional content holds great commercial value, society must become active actors, not just receivers, but also processors, verifiers, and objective evaluators of every piece of information. Furthermore, in a psychosocial context, spreading unverified news related to someone's health potentially violates privacy rights and journalistic ethics. Have we considered that the viral content may have harmed an individual's right to private space? Are the information spreaders aware of the psychological impact on the subject, especially if the news doesn't align with reality?